when you have the emotional maturity and the spiritual maturity to recognize that you don't need to be waging war on your haters, what you need to be waging war on is your obstacles and the setbacks that you have. That's when things really start to make a change for your life for the better. And these haters are going to say that you're dangerous or that you don't know what you're talking about or whatever, because, well, it's because their lives are failing. And I understand that that may sound like an arrogant thing to say. I understand that might sound like a wild thing to say, but it's just the truth. You know, this seems to be something that has continued to manifest itself in the collective consciousness of godly people lately. A lot of godly people have reached out to me about how they're dealing with these haters, and they're dealing with people that are just almost like they're always conniving toward them, and they're always trying to manipulate the situation to make themselves feel like the victim. And we have to be careful as godly people not to get caught up in any type of victim mentality that they're trying to project onto from themselves onto us. And you know, they're going to say that, you know, you're just this emotional basket case or whatever, because you're focusing on yourself. You might not even be doing anything to these people. You might just be in the corner doing your own thing, living your day-to-day life, doing whatever it is that you can to live in accordance to that which is highest. And yet all of these people seem to believe that you're just something other than what you're actually doing, and you're someone other than who you actually are. These people are committed to misunderstand you, and the best thing that you could possibly do is to just accept them for who they are, what they are, and just leave it be. Because these people are not going to change. You think these people are going to change? No. And they're going to try to blackmail you or emotionally blackmail you or do all these different kinds of things if they have this kind of weaponry on you. Because make no mistake, narcissists use information as bullets. Haters will do the same thing. And you might not even be trying to... This is something else that happens quite a bit as an attractive, godly man specifically, and for godly women in general, women that are just humble, kind, responsible, polite, and friendly, and cooperative. These kinds of women are going to be hated on by other women, and the men that are attractive, that are confident, that know what they're doing, man, those are the types of people that get hated on the most, because they're actually striving and they're actually showing that they can fulfill that which they are giving their word to complete. You see, a person's will, especially as a man, your will and your word are often co-aligning and coalescing with each other. When you say you're going to do something and you don't do it, that goes to show as a man and a woman, but specifically in this case as a man, what you're really capable of and who you really are. Because if your words and your actions don't match up, well, that means that your will is actively deceptive, not just unto yourself, but other people. And this is one of the reasons why haters will say that you're dangerous. It's because they're projecting that dangerousness of being too nice onto other people. Some of the most ridiculously manipulative snakes I've ever met have come across as these nice people that have integrity, that have discipline, that have all of these things. They have all these material faculties. They have all these cognitive abilities. And yet, when you really look at their life, nothing of what they're saying that they're doing is actually adding up to who they say that they are. So, well, what do you do in that kind of situation? Well, you don't need to call it out necessarily unless the situation calls for it. Ultimately, you just want to stay away from these kinds of people, because they're not going to be helpful for you in any way, shape, or form down the line. They don't want to be helpful for you in any way, shape, or form down the line. So the best thing that you can possibly do is to recognize that these people just hate their lives, and that's why they're hating on you, because they cannot stand to see somebody actually enjoy their lives. I know that for some of you, that may seem like something that doesn't make sense at all. Why would these people be committed to try to come back into your life or try to steer you off course? Well, it's because they literally don't have anything better to do. They literally do not have anything better to do. Hello. Like, knock, knock, knock. Nothing in their life is going the way that they want. And so they're going to take out all of that pain and frustration about not having self-reflection onto somebody else that's actually doing the work, because they cannot stand to see somebody that is going out there and getting the job done. They just can't stand it. It's really incredible to watch sometimes. And you might not be this, like, you might be this humble person. You might be a person that is just trying to live life day to day, doing the best that you can. The only person that you're in competition with is yourself. And yet all these people seem to be in competition for you and with you. And it's like, I'm not trying to compete with any of you guys. Number one, y'all aren't even on my level. I'm not trying to be rude. It's just, that's the facts. Number two, I have nothing to compete against with you, even if I wanted to. Like, you guys are just not in the same, we're not the same. It's like Kendrick Lamar's song, They Not Like Us. Yeah, they're not like us, okay? And that's okay, but we're like oil and water. We don't mix. And these people think that, you know, they're trying to compete with oil and water, and it just doesn't make sense. These people don't make sense. And it just is what it is. These people are going to be in competition with other people until the day that they die. They're never going to be satisfied. They're never going to be satiated with the kind of discipline that they could have for their own life. They're never going to be fulfilled internally because they're always looking outside for either validation, support, or encouragement and whatnot. And, you know, it's not bad. It's not a bad thing to have those things. It's good to be encouraged. It's good to see people that are encouraging you to continue forward and to really press on, and to really have that solid support system is fantastic. But what you have to realize is that you can't always rely on support to get to where you are. You can't always rely on having other people believe in you if you don't believe in yourself. And I'm not saying that you should put yourself above the Most High God, but what I'm saying is that you need to understand that the novelty of your own life is going to be completely up to you. The novelty of what you can experience in this life is going to be completely up to you. And it comes down to, can you have pathological confidence in yourself? This is what I describe as pathological confidence, is you have complete and utter self-belief no matter how much you're failing. Can you continue to fail and move from the next thing to the next thing with vigorous rigor and competence in regard to what you want to have as far as your vision be played out and your dream be manifested in reality? Can you do that? Because if you can, watch the haters come. Watch the witchcraft. That's another thing that's going to happen a lot, is the witchcraft. People will try to send all these demonic spirits to you. People will try to cast spells to make it seem like you're going to be stuck where you're at. I've talked about this a few times before, but it's almost like people don't understand the levels that some of these witches and warlocks will go to try to stop your success from happening. I've talked to witches before years ago because I wanted to learn about what they really are about and who they really are. It's like that pose as a friend, work as a spy law of power from the 48 Laws of Power. And that's what I was doing. I was really just trying to get information from these witches. And don't get me wrong, I paid for it. I went in there and I was able to see what they were about, who they were about, and what they were doing. This witch told me that if they wanted to cast a spell to make somebody stuck in their career or their relationship life or whatever it is, they would literally put an item of clothing or some kind of item that the person has in a jar, and then they'd put it in the freezer. You know how weird that is? Like, you know the kind of level of bitterness you have to hold and resentment that you have to hold in your heart to do something like that to another human being? you've got to hold a lot of resentment. You got to hold a lot of bitterness. And you know what? If they're going to be doing that, that's fine. It's their prerogative. But no weapon formed against us as godly people, as truly godly people, will prosper, right? And we have to recognize that this was something that came up earlier in, I was thinking about after a conversation with somebody in the Regal Change Academy. There was a verse that I thought of, which was, to do justice is more acceptable to the Lord than sacrifice. And so, well, what exactly does that mean? It means that sometimes deletion of things is not always going to be, and deletion of people is not always going to be sufficient for pleasing the Most High God. What is going to be, sufficient to the Most High God is to do justice. Well, what exactly does that mean? Well, it means that if something is going wrong and you stay silent about it and you know that it's wrong, that means that your silence is a complete and utter falsehood. That's what that means. So you are actively working for falsehoods, and you might not even realize it. So I encourage you that if these haters are trying to do stuff to you and say this about you and say that about you, they're trying to do smear campaigns and whatnot, you might be getting gang stalked right now. That's another weird occurrence that's been going on in the collective godly consciousness right now, as well as there's a lot of gang stalking happening. And so what you have to focus on is not just yourself, but you have to recognize whether or not your neuroticism is playing a part in your misery. Because if your neuroticism is playing a part in your misery, what that means is that neuroticism is where you are hyper-focused on your own misery, which not necessarily acclimates you to your own misery, but it actually deepens the misery part. So how do you move forward from that? What do you do exactly? Well, what you have to do and what you must do if you're being highly neurotic right now is recognize that and make sure that you're able to look at the surrounding landscape of your environment and see, okay, am I not doing a just work here? Am I not doing something right here in my own life? And what do I have control over? Well, okay, look around, for example, in your own home. Like my room right now, for example. I keep it pretty clean for the most part. I don't like it to be too dirty. Every day before I get started with anything, I'll usually meditate after making my bed, and then I'll start to clean anything that I see cleaning. Like, for example, today I was cleaning the dishes that were set on the side to dry, because I don't have a dishwasher or anything at this place, and I don't really care to have a dishwasher. Anyway, I've been washing dishes by hand most of my life. It's fine. And then in the fridge, I had some leftover chili. Chili's been pretty good, a pre-made meal for the weeks usually. So I've had some chili, and there was some chili that was spilled in the fridge. So I cleaned that out. Made sure everything was organized in my fridge. Just cleaned a little bit of the seasoning can or bottles that I have above my stove that I cook on, because sometimes what is cooked on the stove, there will be like that alleviated and dissolved juices from the chicken or the hamburger or whatever that I'm making. We'll get on those, so I just wipe those down. Just little things like that I'll do in the morning after I meditate. And that's what I have control over. That's what I have control over. It helps everything stay in order in my own house, so that way I can be there for other people in the way that I need to, because that's literally my job. Like, my job is to be a truth seeker and to help people grow closer to God. That's just the way that I see the work that I'm here to do, and I work for God. That's just who I am. That's what I'm about. And a lot of these haters, they're not going to like you being who you are and actually fulfilling your destiny. And you have to recognize that a lot of these people, it's okay to pity these people. You don't have to be angry about it. You can pity them. And I kind of feel sorry for a lot of these haters because they just don't understand. They think you're dangerous, and they'll call you dangerous and, you know, a menace to society. They think that you're like a predator or something. And it's like, you obviously just don't know how the world works. A lot of the time, that's just the way that things go nowadays. People just don't know that the world is becoming more and more a pay-to-play kind of place. And it's just the way that it is. So the fact that there's all this kind of free information available on YouTube or social media in general, and they're not doing anything about it, that goes to show more about them than you. So with that being said, I do hope this message was useful and insightful for you. If you do want to join the Regal Change Academy, we have the free Discord as well as the paid community. We have the Seek Retreat coming up in literally 2 weeks from now, February 8th. That'll be an all-day virtual meditation retreat. You do not have to be in the Regal Change Academy to participate, but if you are in the Regal Change Academy, you're going to get a 50% off discount. It's going to be, if you're not in the Regal Change Academy, $20 a day, $10 a day if you are, or for the day if you are in the Regal Change Academy. And the reason for this is because it's going to be literally an all-day virtual meditation retreat. So we're doing guided meditations throughout the day, meetings with everybody collectively throughout the day as well, stress relief meditations, imagination meditations, different kinds of levels for everybody. So that's going to be something that we're really looking forward to. If you do want to join the free Discord, we have the link in the free link in the description box below, as well as the link for the paid community. The biggest difference between the paid community and the free community is that the free community has a few different free resources for fitness, healing, and dream interpretation, as well as the community itself. Then in the paid community, we're doing a lot more hands-on classes, and we also have calls and access to calls. So we're doing the Art of War class series right now. We did the 7 Deadly Sins, reading Dante's Inferno just a couple months ago. We're doing more class series down the line, hands-on. We also have a bunch of classes available to help you that you can do on your own time. So for entrepreneurship or meditation or narcissistic healing, AI optimization, we've got a whole bunch of different things for everybody in there. And we also have, as part of the full membership, 2 weekly Bible study calls, as well as a weekly Regal Assembly call. So with all that being said, I do appreciate everybody moving from the YouTube platform over to X and Rumble and Instagram recently. I appreciate your guys' extra support. And with all that being said, peace be with you all. Till next time.